Right guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to take a look at this Gathering Storm 3 Rise of the Primarch. Robo Gulliman is back. Now just a quick note, I haven't even opened this yet. This is just arrived this morning thanks to Martin from Wargames. Wargames of course being our sponsor on the channel. Please go and check them out for very fast delivery, brilliant customer service, and of course discount on all of your wargaming supplies. But I am not so big into fluff. Anybody who knows me knows I'm not that into it. I haven't read the fluff of the other ones. I've only read the rules. So if you come here looking for a review of the fluff, unfortunately I'm not going to be visiting that. I'm just going to be looking at the rules. So of course this is the third book in the series, and the three of them together look and are publicised absolutely beautifully, and of course the level of detail inside. But we're not even going to look at that. We're going to jump straight in. The rules. So we've got a number of different missions and echoes of war, of course detailing the events of what happens in here, and I don't even know what they are yet. So that isn't something I'm going to look at, but of course it is something that may be worth a closer look at a later date and play some very themed games. That says Gulliman's Throne. Very nice. So, without further ado, wow, there is some nice games in here from the looks of it. Right, anyway, here we go. So, we've got Forces of the Adeptus Astartes, Forces of the Ultramarines, Demonic Adversaries, and Formations. So, as the Forces of Chaos seek to prevent the Forces of the Adeptus Astartes and Robo Gulliman reaching terror, the influence of the Dark Gods spreads further than ever. This section provides rules for the armies arrayed against the Grey Knights as they find themselves battling incursions and possessions in greater numbers than ever before. You've then got the Forces of the Ultramarines, which will be detailed for organising your Ultramarine collection, and of course Relics of Ultramar here at the bottom. And that looks as though it is, let's have a look, powerful relics that can be wielded by the champions of the Adeptus Astartes. However, Robo Gulliman's return has led to the opening of the vaults long sealed on Ultramar, and those fighting alongside him may be granted one of a handful of powerful items that's been rediscovered. Characters taken as part of the Ultramarines detachment as described in this book that can normally choose chapter relics can instead choose these. We've also got some tactical objectives and of course Fallen Angels, which is essentially a new mini faction. So Cypher and the Fallen have the Fallen Angels faction, which is shown by the icon below. The Fallen Angels faction has the following levels of allegiance: Battle Brothers with armies of the Imperium, except Dark Angels, and Battle Brothers with Chaos Space Marines. Allies of Convenience with Dark Eldar Harlequins, Necrons, Orcs, Renegade Knights, and Inari. Desperate Allies of Tau, and Come the Apocalypse with Demons, Genestealer, Khorne, Demonkin, and Tyranids. Neither Cypher nor the Fallen may be included in an army that includes any models with the Dark Angels faction. If not fielded as part of the Fallen Champions formation, Cypher can be selected as part of a primary detachment of any armies of the Imperium or a primary detachment with the Chaos Space Marine faction. Cypher does not take up any slots from the detachment's Force Org choice. That is brilliant. Very, very sneaky being Battle Brothers with Chaos there. So let's have a quick look at Cypher. Weapon skill 7, ballistic skill 10 of course, 443, initiative 8, which is very good, 3 attacks, leadership 10, and a 3-up save. War gear, frag and crack grenades. He actually has an They Shall Know No Fear, Eternal Warrior, Fleet, Hit and Run, Independent Character, Infiltrate, and Shrouded. So Infiltrate and Shrouded, very good there. So special rules, he's got as ye sow, so shall ye reap. Cypher cannot be selected as the warlord of any army. In addition, the leadership characteristic of the warlord of an army that includes Cypher suffers a -1 penalty. Oh, that's not good. Blazing weapons. Cypher can shoot both of his pistols twice in each of his shooting phases, or can fire them once each before or after making a run move. When making Overwatch shots, Cypher uses his full ballistic skill. In the assault phase, half of Cypher's close combat attacks, rounding up, are Strength 4 AP 5, and all remaining attacks are Strength 7 AP 2. So of course he does have 2 pistols, which gives him 4 attacks. So you've got 2 at Strength 7 AP 2. That's brilliant. And we've got Divine Protection. If there is an enemy model within D6 inches of Cypher when he loses his last wound or is otherwise removed as a casualty, then Cypher is assumed to have been captured alive. If there are no enemy models within the range when Cypher is removed as a casualty, then he has made a miraculous escape. If Cypher escapes, he is then not considered to be a casualty for the purposes of awarding victory points. That is very sneaky. Kind of reminds us of a little bit like Lucas the Trickster from Space Wolves. So he's got a couple of extra things here. Cypher and his fellow Fallen have been the subject of secret manhunt by the Dark Angels and their successors since the Horus Heresy. At any cost, the following secondary objectives are used in addition to any others. So this is in addition to Slay the Warlord, First Blood. If Cypher is captured by a Dark Angels model, the player whose army includes the Dark Angels scores 3 victory points. If Cypher is forced to escape or is captured by a model that is not Dark Angel, neither side receives additional victory points. If Cypher is neither captured nor forced to escape before the end of the battle, the player whose army includes Cypher scores D3 victory points. All Dark Angel models with the Deathwing special rule also receive the Zealot special rule. That's not so bad. And then of course we've got his mysterious relic, Cypher's pistols. Cypher carries a bolt pistol and a plasma pistol of ancient design that have the following weapon profiles. So it's a 16-inch bolt pistol and a 12-inch plasma pistol, and that's pretty much it. Obviously, other than the fact that you can use them in close combat. Not bad, and 190 points. Oh, this looks good. So we've got Fallen, 100 points for 5 guys, and they look to be essentially Space Marine Stern Guard, but leadership 10. Let's have a look. So they've got bolt gun, bolt pistol, close combat weapon, and frag grenades, crack grenades. So they've actually got 3 attacks base. The Fallen Champion may replace his bolt pistol with Lightning Claw, Power Weapon, or Power Fist. Can take Melter Bombs. The Fallen Champion may replace one weapon with one of the following. Combi Flamer, Melter, or Plasma, or a Plasma Pistol. So pretty standard across the board. One Fallen may replace his bolt gun with one of the following. Flamer, Heavy Bolter, Melter Gun, or Auto Cannon. Auto Cannon's new. Plasma gun or missile launcher or a las cannon. Up to 4 Fallen may choose one of the following options. They can replace the bolt pistol with a plasma pistol, and they can take any of the following: Power Weapon, Lightning Claw, or Power Fist. They can also replace the bolt pistol with a pair of Lightning Claws instead, or they can take a special weapon, so a Flamer, Melter Gun, Plasma Gun, or a combi. So, not bad, pretty versatile, not quite as versatile as Stern Guard, I don't think. But yeah, it's worth noting as well that it doesn't look like they actually have. And they shall know no fear. No, they don't. We've then got a formation, which is Fallen Champions, which is Cypher and 1 to 3 units of Fallen. They all gain Infiltrate. So you got those melter guns infiltrating, or plasma guns, you know, you're going to be within rapid fire range. It's going to be nasty. And any unit from this formation that is within 12 inches of Cypher has And They Shall Know No Fear and Stubborn. Their leadership 10, Stubborn, and of course And They Shall Know No Fear. That in itself makes it almost worth taking that entire detachment. I feel like I definitely want to paint some of these guys up now. Right, so we've got Grandmaster Voldus. He's 240 points. Weapon skill 6, BS 5. Looks pretty standard across the board, to be honest, with a Grandmaster, Terminator Armor, Stormbolt, Psych Out Grenades, Iron Halo, so he's got 4 up invulnerable. He's got the Aegis, and They Shall Know No Fear, Independent Character, Preferred Enemy Demons, Psycho Master level 3, and he's got Purity of Spirit. I'm not sure what that is, we'll have to have a look at that. Warlord trait, he can generate an extra power from Demonology Santic. Grandmaster Voldus can generate his powers from Santic, Fulmination, standard basically Marine powers. He's got Relic of Titan though, Malleus Agrium, I think, which is basically I want to say Demon Hammer. So it's got Demon Bane, Specialist Weapon, Melee Force, but it's not unwieldy. It's swinging at Initiative 5, which is very good. So let's quickly find out what Purity of Spirit is. Let's have a look. So the Aegis can reroll 1s when denying the Witch. Grey Knight Psychers can generate psychic powers. That's a standard Grey Knight power. So I wasn't aware of that, as Tom is our resident Grey Knight player. I don't think he's brilliant for 240 points at all. He's the equivalent of, you know, a Grandmaster, but Mastery level 3. And if you paid the points, you know, you would end up getting something very, very similar if the options like that were available in the Codex. It's worth noting though, he is only 5 points less than Drago. So I can't see a time when you would take this guy over Drago, to be honest, because Drago's got, you know, a better invulnerable save. And Drago has Eternal Warrior, this guy doesn't. So I feel he's a little bit underwhelming. But there is a formation. So, Bulwark of Purity. We have 1 Librarian, 2 units of Paladins, and 2 units of Terminators. The Librarian must have the Grey Knight faction, must wear Terminator armor, and nobody can take a dedicated transport. While 3 or more units from this formation are on the battlefield, you can add 1 to the result when making a Deny the Witch test. That is very good, considering they're denying on 5s most of the time anyway. Aura of Purity. While 3 or more units from this formation are on the battlefield, if any unit from this formation successfully manifests a banishment psychic power, all units with the demon special rule within 12 of any unit from this formation are affected. That is horrific. That could be a board-wide banishment. That is very powerful, but I find Paladins are very expensive. But this is something that Tom might be worth looking into. Right, let's move on with the rest of the book. Right, so moving on, we've got, of course, the Grey Knight Appendix, which is basically all the war gear and everything, you know, typical standard of Grey Knight stuff. Then you've got this page of rules, Demonic Adversaries, which is basically extra rules that you can use when using your Grey Knights. And basically, Demonic Possession. The adversary's warlord gains Demon, Fleshbane, Armorbane, and Smash special rules, as well as a 3-up invulnerable save. That's quite handy. Very, very nasty indeed, but obviously very, very thematic. The adversary can take one of the following options for any independent character in their army, except ones with Genestealer, Cult, Necron, Tau, or Tyranids. So they can be upgraded to the Psycho Mastery level 1 with the Demon special rule for free, or can be upgraded to Mastery level 2 with the Demon special rule for 25 points. Independent characters upgraded in this way generate their powers from Demonology Malefic. You could also take a following option for any independent characters that already have the Psychic special rule. They can be basically upgraded to Demons for free. So that's pretty nasty. The adversary can include units with Chaos Demons factions as allies of convenience of all units in their army, unless they would normally be battle brothers. That is very, very horrific and nasty, and very thematic, I think, for the Grey Knights to play against. You've also got Demonic Incursion. At the beginning of each of their psychic phases, the adversary rolls a dice and adds the current turn number and consults the following table. So it's a little bit like Warp Storm. So what have we got? We've got 2, nothing happens. 3, the adversary generates an additional warp charge point for each Psyker in their army in this phase. Yeah. Number 4, the adversary chooses one friendly unit. That unit adds 1 to its strength and toughness characteristics. A unit may only be chosen once in this way. I wonder if that's for the rest of the game. It doesn't actually specify. The adversary rolls a dice for each unengaged unit, friend or foe, on the battlefield. On the roll of a 6, that unit suffers D6, strength 4, AP 3 hits, with the ignores cover special rule. Vehicles are hit on their side armor. Wow, that is that's pretty brutal. Number 6, all models with the demon special rule gain +1 to their invulnerable save until the adversary's next psychic phase. The adversary chooses one friendly independent character. That character gains the demon and eternal warrior special rules. Chaotic Hurricane. The adversary rolls a dice for each unengaged unit, friend or foe. On the roll of a 6, the unit suffers D6, strength 6, AP 3 hits. So yeah, that's definitely getting worse as you're going on, because it's D6 plus turn number. This is going to get exciting. So number 9, the adversary's Psykers harness warp charge points on a 3+. 10, the adversary chooses one of their Psykers. That Psyker instantly manifests the summoning power. No warp charge points are used, and no deny the witch roll can be made to prevent this. That is horrific. 11, the adversary rolls a dice for each unengaged unit. So it's the same as before, but it's a strength 8 AP3 hit. And then 12, mass possession. All of the adversary's non-vehicle units gain the demon, fearless and furious charge special rules. If this result is rolled a second or subsequent time, models with the demon special rule gain +1 bonus to their invulnerable save. This bonus cannot improve their invulnerable beyond a 2+. So that would be horrific to play. There'd be a lot of bookkeeping, I think, but if you play this in conjunction with the Empiric Storm cards, that's going to be some very thematic and nasty games. And look who we have here. Reboot Gulliman himself. Let's have a look at what he's got. Weapon skill 9, ballistic skill 6, strength and toughness 6, 6 wounds, initiative 6, 6 attacks, 2 up armor. He's got adamantium will, chapter tactics, ultramarines, eternal warrior, fearless, feel no pain, fleet, precision shots, precision strikes, and preferred enemy chaos. Wow, so that is an absolute mouthful. Eternal warrior and feel no pain, of course, is going to be very, very vital to keep them alive, but with 6 wounds and a 2 up armor save, he's still going to be pretty beastly to get through. So his special rules: Lord Commander of the Imperium. Friendly units from armies of the Imperium re-roll field morale checks and fear and pinning tests while Gulliman is on the battlefield. So no range for that, simply for him being there. Primarch of the 13th Legion, you can choose to enact the Devastator, Assault or Tactical Doctrines once per game, in addition to any you can already use when one of these combat doctrines is enacted, or Ultramarines models in the army are affected. That is fantastic, because if you take that Ultramarine Double Demi Company from the Space Marine Codex, you're getting to use them 3 times. This is going to make it 4 with Gulliman. That's pretty nice. We've got Unyielding Will. Gulliman's leadership is not subject to negative modifiers of any kind, and he can re-roll Deny the Witch tests. And his Warlord trait is every one of the command traits from page 124 of the big rulebook. So all of them combined is going to be absolutely... He is, for 350 points, he's incredibly cheap and he's incredibly beastly. However, Relics of Ultramar, he's got the Emperor's Sword and the Hand of Dominion. So the Emperor's Sword, strength 10, AP 1, Armor Bane, Concussion, Soul Blaze, Touch of the Emperor, and Whirling Flame. So Touch of the Emperor, any attacks with this weapon to hit roll of a 6 are resolved at Strength D rather than 10. As if Strength 10 isn't powerful enough, Strength D is phenomenal. We've got Whirling Flame. In the fight subphase, rather than making attacks like normal, Guilliman can make a number of attacks with this weapon against each enemy unit engaged in combat equal to the number of models from that unit within 1 inch of him. So he can even clear out hordes by whirling that giant sword around. So he's very versatile, reminds us a bit of the Night Castigator. And then we've got the Hand of Dominion, which can also be used as a ranged weapon, which is Strength 6, Range 24, AP 2, Assault 3, Rending. So Strength 6, Rending, AP 2, you're going to cut through nearly everything it touches. That's great for a shooting attack. And Ballistic Skill 6, that's nothing to sniff at. He's then got the Armour of Fate, which confers a 3+ invulnerable save. In addition, if Guilliman is slain, place a marker at the spot where you're slain. At the beginning of your next turn, roll a dice, and on a 4 or more, Guilliman is restored by his armour. Place him as close as possible to the marker, more than 1 inch from any units, with D3 wounds remaining. Otherwise, he is slain. If the marker is on the battlefield at the end of the game, Guilliman is considered to be slain. So not only is he insane to kill, you've got to then kill him again if he comes back on a 4+. Granted, it's on D3 wounds, but the possibility of him remaining on the battlefield is I wonder if he's harder to kill than Celestine. Right, so we've got some formations. We've got Triumvirate of the Primarch, which is of course the 3 models. So, touched by fate, you can reroll 1 failed saving throw each turn for each model from this formation. So that's brilliant. Inspiring Presence. While Grandmaster Valdis and Robert Guilliman are on the battlefield, all friendly units with armies of Imperium faction have the Stubborn special rule. So again, pretty damn good. Right, we've then got Victrix Guard, or Victrix Guard. So that is an entire formation which is Captain Sakaris, 1 unit of Honor Guard, and 4 units of Stern Guard or Vanguard. There's no restrictions on it other than they can't take any dedicated transports or begin embarked on a transport. So nothing they're saying so far that it has to be Ultramarines, which is quite interesting. Unless Sicarius is Ultramarine, I'm not too familiar with him. But fight like the demigods. Add 1 to the weapon skill and ballistic skill characteristics of all models in this formation. Wow. The Primarch's chosen. While a unit from this formation is within 3 inches of Guilliman, he can make a lookout sir roll as if he was part of the unit. So he can actually tank for them when he's not even in the unit. That formation with +1 weapon and ballistic skill is outstanding. Definitely something worth looking at. So, looks as though we've got a new Ultramarine detachment here, Scions of Guilliman. You can choose to enact Devastate, Assault and Tactical Doctrine once each per game. When the combat doctrines are enacted, all Ultramarine models in your army are affected. And as I said earlier, they can take relics of Ultramar if they could normally take any relics from Codex Space Marines. Got a new set of Warlord traits. Let's have a quick look at these. So number 1, your Warlord and all friendly units within 12 may re-roll Field Morale, Fear and Penitent. Well, I think Guilliman has that anyway. Your Warlord has the counter-attack special rule. It's not great. Your Warlord has the preferred enemy special rule. Again, it's not great, it's okay. Master strategy though. You can add 4 to any Seize the Initiative roll. So you season on a 2+. We've got Master of Tactics. As long as the Warlord is alive at the beginning of each of your turns, you can discard an active tactical objective. If you do so, you can generate a new tactical objective and re-roll the result. So that's at the beginning of your turn, in addition to discarding one at the end of your turn normally. And re-roll if you're not using tactical objectives. And then number 6, Adept of the Codex, your Warlord and any friendly units within 6 inches of him have the split fire special rule. That is absolute key. So there's a couple of good Warlord traits in there, but the rest of them I don't think are anything outstanding. We've got a couple of Relics of Ultramar here. So the Tarantine Cloak, 35 points, gives you Eternal Warrior and it will not die special rule. So that's not bad for the points. We've got the Helm of Censure. The wearer of the Helm of Censure has the preferred enemy special rule. Against Chaos Space Marines, he re-rolls all failed to hit and to wound rolls. That's 30 points, so if you're going against Chaos, 30 points is not bad at all for that. We've got the Santic Halo, Space Marine Captain only. The bearer of the Santic Halo has the Adamantium Will and Feel No Pain special rules, and that is only 15 points. So that is definitely something to consider. We've then got Soldier's Blade, which replaces a melee weapon, so it looks as though it's 20 points, but it's an AP2 power weapon. So that's not bad, an extra 5 points to get the extra AP, especially if you're going to be facing a lot of Terminators. Then we've then got the Standard of Macragge Inviolate. Friendly Ultramarines within 12 inches of the bearer of this add 1 to their leadership characteristics. The bearer and his unit add 1 to the attack whilst the bearer is alive. And roll a dice each time a friendly Ultramarine infantry model is killed within 6 inches of the standard before removing the model as a casualty. On a 5+, the Marine can make an out-of-sequence shooting attack if it is the movement, psychic or shooting phase, or pile in and make its attacks if it is in the fight sub-phase. So that's going very along the lines of a Ynnari, but you have to roll a dice and get a 5+ for that. 60 points, that's very expensive and not a guarantee. That might be handy if you can take that in the formation with all the Stern Guard. Obviously you're going to have a lot of special weapons and stuff. And then we've got the Vengeance of Ultramar, which is a Strength 1, AP 5, Assault 4, Poison 2+, Pistol. No, it's not pistol, sorry, it's just a ranged weapon. 20 points, it's okay. And then we've got the Victrix Strike Force Detachment. So let's have a quick look at this. So restrictions, this detachment must include at least 1 core choice and 1 auxiliary. You can take any number of core choices and up to 3 command choices. You can choose between 1 and 10 auxiliary per core choice taken. Only data sheets listed here can be included in the detachment. All units in this detachment must be drawn from the Ultramarines chapter. You've then got a Perfect Doctrine, which is your command benefit. You can choose to enact the Devastator, Assault or Tactical Doctrines once each per game. When you use these when one of these combat doctrines is enacted, all Ultramarine models in your army are affected. In addition, you can choose to enact a combination of Devastator, Assault and Tactical in any of your turns, subject to the normal number of times you are allowed to use each doctrine. That is brutal. So whereas before you've got to weigh up, do I use the shooting one or do I use the combat one? Well, now you can just go, I'm going to use both. So very, very fluffy for the Ultramarines there, I think. Something definitely worth looking into. Objective secured. All non-vehicle units in this detachment have the objective secured special rule, which is brilliant. And then, of course, if it is chosen as your primary detachment, you can re-roll the Warlord trait. So, what can you take in it? A lot of it refers to Codex Space Marines, but obviously they have to use Chapter Tactics Ultramarines. So we've got the Battle Demi Company. Strike Force Ultra is actually a core choice. So that is very, very interesting. We've got the Strike Force Command, which is Rabuk Gulliman, Calgar, 1 Captain, 1 Chaplain, 0 to 1 Honor Guard, and 0 to 1 Command. That is pretty tasty. And then it looks as though the rest of it is all your Space Marines. but you've also got the addition of that Victrix Guard in there as well. So that is very, very fluffy for the Ultramarines. It's kind of Codex Space Marines enhanced for Ultramarines, which I think is really, really good if you're an Ultramarine player. And then of course we've got the 6 tactical objectives specific to this Ultramarine detachment. It's very nice that Games Workshop is continuing to do these. I just wish they had continued the cards for each of the factions. I can understand obviously it's a lot of cost to them, printing them all up and everything, but I definitely feel like they should have continued with it. So I think if you're an Ultramarines fan, this book is 100% for you. If you're a Grey Knights fan, there's a few bits and pieces in there that is quite interesting, but if you haven't got any of those forces, Fallen looks pretty easy to get into. You've got Cypher and 3 units. So that's it, folks. That is the Gathering Storm 3 Rise of the Primarch. Let me know what your thoughts are on it, what formations look interesting and which combinations you would think about taking. Are the new characters worth the points? Who do you think you would field? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks very much for watching, guys.